In this lesson, we're going to focus on implementing some of the elements of course design that we previously talked about. Let's get started. Click on Turn Editing On, and we are going to go ahead and create an activity or resource. So click on that link right there. I'm going to start with a label, which is right here. We'll expand the text editor, and this is going to be basically a label with a header for my course. And what I usually like to do is I like to go ahead and insert an image. So I will drag an image from my desktop and drop it right over here, and it's going to have this beautiful image that says welcome to Accounting 101. And underneath it, we are going to provide our students with some basic information about the course. And this is information that you can get from your syllabus, which is where I'm going to be getting this information from. Right under the image, I'm going to go ahead and paste the information that I copied from my syllabus. Let's go ahead and format this. Maybe I'll put this in bullet format to remove all of the spaces in between. Go down here, we're going to bold this, course description. Let's take out that space. We're going to bold that sentence right there. And this looks like it's numbered, therefore we are going to go ahead and number this and take out all of the extra numbers that were previously there. And that looks good for right now. We're going to go ahead and save our changes and see what they look like on the welcome screen. So we're going to scroll to the bottom. Save and return to course. And there we have it. So when students first log into the course, this is basically what they're going to see. Now you'll notice that I've got a little checkbox over here. This is really for students to basically check off once they completed an activity. However, in this particular case, this really isn't an activity. This is really just a welcome screen label, and I don't really want the check mark over here. So we will go ahead and edit this and remove it. So we're going to click on Edit Settings. We're going to go back down here. And where it says Activity Completion, we will expand that. And we will change this from Students Can Manually Mark to Do Not Indicate Activity Completion. We will save and return. And the check mark should have disappeared by now. The next thing that I want to do is you'll notice that the announcement is at the very top of the page. And I don't want that there when students first log into the course. So I'm just going to go ahead and click right over here on the arrows and drag this to the top. That way, this is the first thing that students see. And the announcements will be underneath them, which is where I want them. And if this is too long for you or too much information, you can always customize this. Some instructors like to include as well an orientation or a button that says Start Here, which is an option for your students. I personally don't do that on my courses, and the reason that I don't do that is because I typically send out an email with instructions to the students on how to log into my courses, along with a link to a video tutorial that covers the orientation. So I typically do the orientation for the course before students actually log into my Moodle course. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to go ahead at this point and add some more information on this home page. And what I'd like to do next is basically add a block that has my information as the instructor. So we're going to go ahead and scroll over to the left menu panel, and at the very bottom over here it says add a block. We're going to click on that, and we are going to add an HTML block right here. We're going to go to the HTML block, which is right here on the right hand side, and we are going to click on the little gear icon so that we can go ahead and configure it. We're going to call this block Professor, or you can call this Instructor or Teacher, whatever your title is. I'm going to expand the menu editor. And what I typically like including over here is basically an image of myself and my contact information. I'm going to go to my desktop and take a profile picture that I have and just drop it right here. And this image is a little too large. So what we're going to do is we will ensure that it's selected by clicking on it, and then we will click on the image icon. And we can go ahead and resize this image right here. So as you can see right now, it is 1759 pixels. So I will change this to about 200 pixels. And let's save and see what that looks like. Okay, so that is a decent size. And now the next thing that I want to do is I want to add my contact information underneath my image. We will go ahead and paste the text underneath my picture right there. And what I'd like to do here is perhaps bold all of this information. That is my office location, assuming you have an office location that you want to use. Of course, you can take out any information that you don't need. But I typically communicate with students in these different manners. People can visit me in person, or they can reach me on Teams, or they could email me as well. That looks good. So we're going to go ahead and save our changes and see what it looks like. So our course is starting to look really good. I think I want to go ahead and modify this so that there's no space in between all of these images. So let's go ahead and do that. There we go. And I think I want to remove the bullet points right here. There. We just remove the bullet points and it looks good. So we're going to save our changes. There, that looks a lot better. The next thing that I'd like to add is a block for our activities. And the reason that I do this is because as I start creating assignments, activities, quizzes, I want there to be a quick links block right over here that students can simply click on if they want to reach a particular group of activities. So once again, we are going to go down to our add a block icon link on the left menu panel. We're going to click on that and we are going to click on activities right there. So all I have to do is just go ahead and insert that and it automatically populates, and I do not need to make any modifications to this at this point. As you can see right now, we've only got one for the forums. However, as we start adding quizzes and assignments, you're going to start seeing the activities block add basically a link for every single one of these activities. So in essence, it's going to look something like this right here. This is from our completed course. Okay. All right, the next thing that I'm going to do is add a block right underneath this for latest announcements. That way, as I start posting announcements for our students, they'll start to appear right over here so that when students first log into the course, they will see if there's any new information that I'd like to share with them. So once again, we're going to go to the add a block link on the left menu panel, click on it, and we are going to scroll until we get to latest announcements. And that just got added right there. The last thing that I want to go ahead and add to the welcome screen or my home page for the course is to add a block for upcoming events. So we're going to go ahead and click on add a block, and we're going to scroll down to the bottom and look for upcoming events. There it is. And this is basically going to add a block that shows any events that are currently on the calendar for this course. So if I go ahead and scroll to the bottom, you will see that I've got all of these items that are on my calendar that are now appearing also on the homepage. So as soon as students log into this course, they're going to get a welcome screen. They're going to see who the professor is, my contact information. They're going to see any latest announcements from me as an instructor, and then they will see any upcoming events and deadlines. We're going to go ahead and turn editing off and see what this looks like. This looks good for the most part, but there are a few things that I think that I'd like to fix. For example, we got a little too much spacing right over here in comparison to the other two bullet points. There's some information over here that really doesn't need to be on the Moodle course itself. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of some information and maybe center the image so that it looks a little bit better on the screen. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's start by turning editing on. We're going to click on the gear icon, configure the professor block, and simply select the image, open the editor, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and center that image right there. And I know that it looks a little odd on this particular screen, but once you save it, you'll see that it looks fine. And there it looks a lot nicer on the screen because it is centered. And then we can go ahead and scroll down, and we're going to go ahead and edit this block. And what we're going to do here is go ahead and maximize that. And we can actually take out this information here, because the presumption is that by the time the students enroll in your course, they would have known that this is a 3-unit course and how long it is and so on and so forth. And this information is also going to be in the syllabus. So we don't want the welcome page to look a little too cluttered. So I'm going to get rid of anything that we don't really need. We can take this out. And we can take out this information as well, because it is going to be on the syllabus. Okay, we're going to scroll to the bottom. We're going to save and return to course and see what this looks like. Let's turn editing off. And that looks a lot cleaner. We've got a welcome screen. Our image is centered. There's the basic information for the course, the announcements, and of course the blocks that we added. I think this looks like a good start for a welcome screen for your students.